So you've been showing up, you've been creating content, you've been building community, you've been staying consistent. But somewhere between the analytics and the comments, you started wondering, when does this start working for me? Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Creation without ownership is just sophisticated labor. And today, I wanted to talk about why culture creators need to start thinking less like influencers and more like investors. Now, this comes across as a problem because they have what I call the creator hamster wheel. The creator economy promised freedom, post your content, build your audience, monetize your influence. But what if it actually delivered was more of a new kind of hustle? YouTube is an asset, but Google owns it. You create on it. Instagram is an asset, but Meta owns it, and you build on it. TikTok is also an asset, but ByteDance owns it, and you perform on it. You are creating immense value, but you're doing it on rented land. So it goes to more of these questions that we've been asking, or that I've been personally asking. Most creators ask, how do I grow? How do I monetize? How do I get brand deals? And these aren't bad questions. It's just that they keep you stuck in a cycle of trading time for money. And if you've already been posting consistently, especially if you post more than once a week, you already know where that road leads. Straight to burnout. So what if you started asking different questions? What if instead of, how do I grow my audience, you asked, what can I own that pays me whether I post or not? How can I use the attention I've built to acquire assets? What if I created content about the assets that I'm building or that I already own? How can AI help me to do more in 1 hour that it used to take me 10? This is the shift from culture creator to capital owner. Let me give you an example. So say there is a creator that creates content for Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Do they own any stock in the platforms that they create for? I started looking at the content where I was posting, and I started to say, hey, if I can already create content for this platform, why not own a piece of the companies that own the platform? So for those companies, if I can own a piece of the stock through microshares or through the whole stock itself, that makes me want to create exclusively for those platforms because I have partial ownership in the platform's success. And that's not luck. That's strategy. That's research. That's intentional investing. And it's available to you too. But you might say, I don't know anything about investing or digital currencies like Bitcoin, or I don't know how to invest in business. That's okay. That means you're not stuck in old thinking. I am definitely not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice, but I am going to help you to ask better questions about where you spend your time or your money. So if you've been thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm interested in AI, but it really does feel overwhelming to me. And I understand you on that. But let me present to you this. When the smartphone first came out, it was overwhelming. It was personally overwhelming to me. I had a flip phone for a very long time after everybody else had moved over and gotten their iPhones and smartphones. And it took me much convincing of some of my coworkers to go ahead and get the smartphone. I was very resistant to getting it. But after I got it and I needed help learning how to use it, I loved it. It was absolutely wonderful to me. It really was like having a personal computer right in my pocket. So if AI feels overwhelming, that's okay. So did smartphones. So did social media. So did even filming your very first video. But you learned all of that. And AI is the same, except this time you're early. The women who figured out how to use AI now, not to replace their creativity, but to amplify it, will be the ones who thrive over the next decade. So for some people who are just getting into the content creation space, are you thinking maybe it's just too late for you? And this question really, it hits home because I've always been a late bloomer. Even though I could see the trends coming for the future, things that were going to be happening, and I could see it coming ahead, sometimes I was resistant because I didn't trust myself that I would be doing it correctly. And I'd often just get in my own way from overanalyzing things. But this is what I will encourage for people who are courageous enough to be creators that are lifelong learners. It's never too late. But I will say, as someone who's a lifelong learner, there's something that you have that many young creators don't have, or they just can't have. And that's time perspective, because you've had more life experience. You've just had more time to experience things that younger creators can't. So not to say that younger creators don't know what burnout feels like, but they don't have the specific experience of being torn between caring for your children and caring for your parents. I know that I have that, and I know many women of my age also have those concerns too. So they have a greater sense of eliminating things that are no longer needed and getting very, very intentional with what you want to focus on, what really matters. So now that we're at the beginning of this AI revolution that is going on, it's changing everything, and everybody's back at the starting line. This is the time of thinking, hey, all of this wisdom that I've acquired over time, how do I want to shift my focus to this new paradigm, this new era, this new renaissance that all of us can participate in at the beginning of it? So the whole framework that I built and put together is what I call the Queen's Cup framework. So this is the Queen's Cup, and it's a simple framework that asks, what's filling your cup and what's draining it? Most of us have been taught that income flows through labor. In fact, that's been most of our experience for many of us in our lives. So you work more and you earn more and you create more and then you monetize more. But the little secret of the wealthy, which is now becoming more and more well known, is that wealth actually flows in through assets that you own. And under that, I'd like to say that there's skills that you've mastered and that you can leverage with AI. And then what I think is a secret sauce, the thing that I find most important, is strategic rest. Because if you make good decisions, but you don't have a full cup, it's not going to flow from a good place. You can't overflow into areas when you don't have anything left to give. So how would this look like in practicality? And it's not about just quitting content creation because, you may need it for your business. You may like actual content creation, but it's about making content that serves a larger wealth strategy. It's more about asking, what could I automate? Where could I leverage AI? And how do I protect my energy while building something that lasts? Here's what I'd like you to take away from this video, whether you decide to work with me through my Queen's Cup framework or if you don't. If you've been building culture, if you've been creating value, you deserve to build capital too. Start asking yourself, what do I currently own? Where is my money going? And what could I start learning about today? Who do I know that's already doing this well? So if you want help mapping this out, I offer what I call the Queen's Cup session. It's a 1-hour strategic conversation where we can audit your current creation flow. We identify your leverage points. We map out your personalized path to ownership, and we explore how AI can support your transition. The link is in the description. But honestly, whether you book it or not, I just want you to start thinking differently about what's possible for you. You've already been valuable for so long. It's now time to start building value for yourself. If this resonated, let me know in the comments. And if you know another creator who needs to hear this, share it with them. I'll see you in the next one.